Did you know that the fresh shrimp at your grocery store seafood counter may not be so fresh after all? Or that you're probably skipping one of the most important preparation steps? Here are the common mistakes people make when cooking shrimp. The first mistake people make when cooking shrimp begins prior to purchase, long before you even turn your stove on. It's easy to purchase the wrong kind of shrimp if you don't know exactly what you're looking for. It all comes down to what you plan on cooking. For example, if you're making a shrimp salad and just want little bites of shrimp mixed in, you can opt for a smaller variety. On the other hand, if you're grilling your shrimp or plan on eating them whole, you may want to look for some that are a bit larger. However, larger shrimp generally cost more, so if you're going to be chopping them up, it's usually not worth the inflated price. Trying not to blow your whole grocery budget on shrimp just for one meal? We don't blame you. Those who are looking for more budget-friendly varieties might want to opt for small, pre-cooked frozen shrimp. Whatever size you decide to go with, just make sure you pick out the best shrimp for you and your budget. If you buy your shrimp frozen, you're in the clear when it comes to buying shrimp past its prime. Just put it in the freezer and get to it when you're ready. However, if you've purchased fresh or thawed shrimp, you're going to want to cook it right away. We're talking within 24 hours. That's because fresh shrimp can go bad very quickly. This will leave you with a mushy, unappetizing product that could even make you sick. So if your shrimp looks old, has a slimy or mushy texture, or smells like ammonia, it's time to trash it. If you know you want to cook a dish with fresh shrimp in it, plan to purchase it the day you're making the dish. If that's not possible, try to go the day before. Leave your shrimp in the fridge for much longer, and there's a good chance you're not going to get the fresh seafood you've been expecting. When you look at the fresh seafood on display at your local seafood counter, you may think that everything looks like it came straight from the ocean. You may be disappointed to realize, though, that's not always the case. As a matter of fact, most of the shrimp you'll find in seafood cases at the grocery store are previously frozen, which is probably not what you think you're getting. Oftentimes, you'll pay more for these thawed shrimp than you will for the ones that are still frozen, and they'll actually be less fresh. Therefore, if you're buying from a grocery store, you will want to look for IQF, or individually quick frozen shrimp instead. However, if you happen to live in an area close to the coast where you have access to fresh seafood markets, you're in luck. If that's where you're located, then you'll definitely want to buy fresh. Just make sure to cook them in time. If you have a bag of shrimp in the freezer, you may think that preparing them is as easy as taking them out and throwing them into a pan or boiling water. But we're here to tell you that not defrosting your shrimp is a big mistake if you want it to taste good. The reasoning here is simple. If you don't defrost your shrimp, the shrimp is going to cook unevenly. Think about it. The outside of the shrimp will cook right away because it's coming into direct contact with the heat. But the inside of the shrimp is still completely frozen. By the time the inside is cooked through, the outside is going to be way too overcooked to properly enjoy. And that's the last thing you want after you've just spent a fortune on shrimp. Putting frozen shrimp in a pan with other ingredients can also lower the temperature of the pan, making all of your other food cook unevenly too. Simple solution? Just make sure you defrost your shrimp before you begin cooking. Luckily, it usually doesn't take too long. So you know you have to defrost your frozen shrimp, but how? While it may be tempting to set your shrimp on the counter for a few hours before you start cooking, that's not ideal. They spoil too quickly and could become a food safety concern. Thawing in the microwave is out of the question, and even putting your shrimp in warm water isn't a great idea. Since shrimp cook so quickly, this could lead to an overcooked meal, and that's the last thing you want. The best way to defrost is to simply place your shrimp in a colander over a bowl in the refrigerator and let them thaw overnight. This method does take some forethought, but it's super simple. If you can't wait that long, throw the shrimp in a bag, squeeze the air out, and place the bag in lukewarm water. Avoid putting the shrimp directly into the water though, as they can get waterlogged. If you happen to buy shrimp that still have their shells, you may think that you need to get rid of them as soon as possible. After all, you may not want to peel the shrimp on your plate. However, we're here to tell you that in many cases, removing the shells before you start cooking is a bad idea. This is especially true when you decide to grill your shrimp. When you grill, you're exposing the shrimp to high, intense heat, which can quickly dry out their delicate flesh. The shells act as a protective barrier, keeping the meat away from the hottest parts of the flame and trapping in moisture. When you're ready to eat, the shells should slide off easily after cooking. You'll be amazed at what a difference leaving the shells on makes. Deveining a shrimp doesn't actually have to do with a vein at all. Instead, you're taking out a part of the animal's digestive tract. While you don't technically have to devein your shrimp, many people think it tastes and looks better when they do. However, if you're still new to the deveining process, it can be a little tricky, so you'll want to make sure you take your time. Since shrimp are delicate, it's easy to mishandle them. Before you devein your shrimp, you'll want to know exactly what you're doing. If you don't, head to YouTube to check out a tutorial. Then, grab a sharp knife or a pair of kitchen shears. You're going to end up with a huge mess if you use a blade that's too dull. There are some types of meat that you would never dream of cooking without brining first, but when it comes to seafood, a brine may feel unnecessary. After all, wasn't this stuff just in salt water? However, you may be interested to learn that brining your shrimp is an excellent idea, infusing a lot of flavor into your finished meal. All you have to do is place your shrimp in a bowl along with 1 part kosher salt, 1 part sugar, 4 parts boiling water, and 8 parts ice. Brine unpeeled shrimp for about 40 to 60 minutes, while peeled shrimp will only require about 20 to 30 minutes of brining time. Afterward, rinse your shrimp well with cold water and pat them dry. It may require a bit of time and preparation before you start cooking, but the results speak for themselves. You may be surprised at how much more flavorful your shrimp is if you decide to take this step before you cook. It's really easy to overcook shrimp, especially if you're used to cooking meat that takes a lot longer to cook through. In most cases, shrimp cooks very quickly, so leaving it on the heat just a bit too long can result in an overcooked mess. And if you've ever had overcooked shrimp, then you know it's tough, rubbery, and generally unpleasant. To determine whether your shrimp is cooked through, there are a few easy tips you can follow. First of all, check the color. When shrimp is cooked through, it becomes opaque, losing that transparent appearance it has when you buy it raw. Look for a pink-orange opaque color, and that's a good indicator that your shrimp is done. It can also help to feel the shrimp with your fingers. If it's too squishy, it may need to be cooked for longer. If it has no give, you've probably overcooked it. You're looking for something right in the middle. Of course, you can always use a meat thermometer for your shrimp. This works particularly well for larger varieties. When the internal temperature reaches 165 Fahrenheit, your shrimp is done. Shrimp is probably not something you eat every day, so it's like a little celebration when you do get to indulge. But just because you're eating a highly prized protein doesn't mean you can skimp on the seasonings. Even though shrimp comes from the ocean, it still benefits from adding salt, especially since the flesh of shrimp has such a light, mild flavor. Butter or other fats can also be a great addition since shrimp isn't too fatty itself. Cooking shrimp without proper seasoning will likely result in a boring, bland meal that you won't remember tomorrow. As a matter of fact, shrimp can handle a lot more than just salt and fat. Think of dishes like Old Bay shrimp boils and shrimp etouffee. They require a ton of seasonings, and the end results are out of this world. So don't be afraid to add whatever seasonings sound good to you. We love spicy shrimp, so adding chili powder, crushed red pepper flakes, or even gochujang could result in a tasty dish. And of course, garlic tastes good on everything, as does vinegar and lemon. Don't be afraid to add whatever sounds best to you. There are countless different ways to cook shrimp.
There's shrimp kebabs, shrimp creole, shrimp gumbo, pan fried, deep fried, stir fried.
One of our very favorite ways to cook shrimp is on the grill. Grilling shrimp lends it a rich, smoky flavor that you can't get any other way. However, putting shrimp on the grill can be a real hassle, especially if they're on the smaller side. You don't want to have to flip each one individually while you're cooking them. Since they tend to cook so quickly, individual flipping can easily lead to burning. So what should you do? Try using a skewer while you're grilling your shrimp. The skewer serves two purposes. First, it makes it easier to flip your shrimp while they're cooking. The skewer also makes for a lovely way to serve the shrimp. Using this simple cooking technique can take both the look and flavor of your grilled shrimp to the next level. After you're done cooking and shelling your shrimp, you might think it's time to head to the trash can to throw your shrimp shells away. Not so fast. Throwing those shells away means throwing away a ton of flavor, and that's the last thing you want to do. Instead, hold on to all those discarded shrimp parts for future use. Putting the shells into a big pot of boiling water, along with the spices of your choice, can make an incredibly flavorful seafood broth that you can use for just about anything, from soups to pasta to risottos. If you don't want to cook the stock right away, you can freeze the shells and do it whenever you have the time. Haven't tried seafood stock before? Trust us, it's delicious and can be used to help prepare a variety of dishes.
There's pineapple shrimp, lemon shrimp, coconut shrimp, pepper shrimp, shrimp soup, shrimp stew.
And since this is a great way to use up what you already have, you can feel good about the fact that you're not wasting food or money. Check out one of our newest videos right here. Plus, even more mashed videos about your favorite stuff are coming soon. Subscribe to our YouTube channel and hit the bell so you don't miss a single one.